It's real nice of you to come round and see me like this. When did you get here?
Oh, just now actually, although I've got to say, your music has been knocking me cold for years.
Well, thanks. You're a bit of a knockout yourself, too, you know.
Oh, well, gosh. I'm sorry, what's that, Marina? Oh, right. Yes, of course. Sorry, you meant Marina. Yes.
And I wish you'd call me Cass.
Yeah, well, she can't actually call... Anyway, I'm afraid to say we're here on business today, Kaz.
I don't see what the point is.
Well, the point is that we need you to press the button on the old randomizer here to find out what episode I'll be watching today.
Yeah, okay then.
That's it, thank you. Sorry it all sounds like much of a muchness, but there's some folks out there who do seem to like it. Oh, and I think Marina likes you, by the way.
And tomorrow she's off home again. Oh, well, that's show business.
Yes, afraid so. Duty calls. Right, let's see. Okay. Well, we're off to the Old West today, not for Four Feather Falls, but for Joe 90.
Funny guy, but he sure knows the business.
Indeed. Here's Lone-Handed 90.
Still, like I say, he knows the business.
Yes, I think we got that bit, thank you. Well now, welcome back to Joe 90 on the Randomizer. Or as the music on the television that Joe is watching here might suggest... Yes, some Thunderbirds on that. He's watching a Western on the television. He's got his toy Western train and car. He's got his little cowboy outfit. And right away this episode is scoring big with me, as obviously this show does, all the way along the line. But I think it's nice, firstly, that we just see Joe as a little boy.
You've lost sleep.
Dealing with this.
You're driving 200 miles down here doesn't help me solve the problem, does it?
Mac and Sam and Shane having a big old argument about the big rat, which has broken down.
I invented it, remember?
Can Joe assist? No, because he's just a 9-year-old boy.
We've had this
But
breakdown for a week.
He's got, thoughts and ideas and suggestions of his own, and, adults being adults, sometimes
What if we...
Look, I've already told you.
they don't listen to children.
Do this, will you?
Well, I just
Now,
thought...
just do as you're told, Joe. There isn't anything you can do to help here. It's enough having these two onto me without you making it more difficult.
He couldn't be more difficult than his own father.
Yeah, straight away the setup is quite interesting and unusual.
That's right. We'll make the decisions.
And turn that television down.
The adults are for once treating Joe...
Look, all I wanted to do was to make a suggestion.
Well, it is intriguing. It does make you think that maybe
It's one of them.
they care more about Joe for how they can use him rather than him as a person. Which, although you could sort of read that into other episodes, it is blatant here. They've just told him to shut up and go away. Joe's back on the sofa watching his exciting Western. Lots of special effects shots that don't quite seem to tie together in any particular story. But as we close in on Joe, and he's got his blinking head on, we can see his subconscious is going to try to tie together not only those unconnected images,
Follow this, Joe.
That's right. We'll make the decision.
but those pesky, annoying adults who tell him what to do. Yes, this is a dream episode. But unlike the other dream episodes, or most of the other dream episodes, it doesn't do... Well, it tells you right away this is a dream. I mean, from that lovely shot there as we go into Joe's head, via a shot of him in the big rat with his... or in the rat trap, I should say, wearing his cowboy costume. And here we are in Spoke City. Ye old western town, and just straight away the whole thing looks beautiful. This is an episode by, I think it's written by Desmond Saunders and Keith Wilson, but I gather this was a very popular one for the crew to work on. I think the idea sort of came, it must have come out from brainstorming in the pub or something. Some lovely puppetry there on the cashier being held up as well, at gunpoint in the bank. And instantly, this whole world is so believable. And it's been a few years since, what was AP Films, now Century 21, had actually done anything like this. We're seeing familiar faces, holding guns.
Let's go.
Even though they're wearing bandanas, it's clearly Mac, Sam and Shane.
Just one more.
The trouble with you two, you're just plumb greedy.
Yeah, we'd done a Western in Four Feather Falls. We'd revisited it in Fireball XL5 with 1875.
Hurry it up.
I would have to assume some of what you're seeing in this episode in terms of props and things is reused from that show, but I would also assume not much.
Okay, you guys, let's beat it.
Because obviously all this is scaled to the new correctly proportioned puppets. and some very nice body movements on the bank cashier there.
Warm for you, friend.
When Sam fired his gun, not Sam, Shane fired his gun and it hit his inkwell, and his face was splashed with the blue ink of the bottle. As you know,
Around.
I think that's a sort of allegory for, in the westerns, someone got shot and you might get a splatter of blood on someone's face. It's very clever.
Help! Help! Fire! Oh my. Robbery!
And some great voice acting in this one as well. Gary Files in particular does a lot of likable Western characters. He's the sheriff's deputy, but he was also that bank manager there. And again, just as the Wynn gang, for it is they, drive out of Spoke City, they crash through someone's garden, and you have just this little figure moving to watch them go.
Do a whole lot better.
Again, on HD, it doesn't look as great as maybe it did once, but it's just the level of attention and detail that's going into this. Even there's a little cemetery as they drive out of town.
I do, but I'd like to stay alive to enjoy it for a little longer. Anyway, what's next, Chief?
Next, a little gold consignment in Altoona. And the nearest town to it is Joesville.
Again, this is a great example of attention to detail. The three of them are making their escape in this knackered old car, and the car on the puppet set is being shaken as an old car of that era would if it's about to fly apart at the seams.
In the west.
He'd have to be fast to handle the three of us alone.
Yes, they're heading to Joesville. So named because of its great sheriff.
Greek rodeo. Quit whining, you.
I like that as well. Is it? I can never be sure if it's not. Is it Crickle Creek or Cripple Creek? Because I have a feeling they say both, but I just love the place. I just love the idea of a place called Cripple Creek. But we're not there now. We're in Joesville. Law-abiding folks, welcome. And there's a little poster of the Wynn gang. Oh dear. Yeah, if you're looking for anything critical in this episode, and I can understand that some people, the poor, unenlightened fools that don't like Joe 90, even some who do like Joe 90 might have a hard time with this episode, and I understand that. It's a dream episode. On the other hand, they're really seizing full opportunity here to make something really unique and different. You know, it's not like
Sheriff!
dream episodes like in Stingray or UFO or whatever, where
Okay, old time.
they play a scenario where it that looks really interesting, and then at the end they go, it was all a dream, fooled you. And it's like, oh no, we want to see that play out in the real world. Whereas this,
The saloon, Sheriff. In the saloon.
is just an excuse to have fun and be creative, crucially, as well. Yes, the Wynn gang are now in town. They're at the Palace Hotel. Rooms. Homers. It says in the window. Something about homers.
Yeah. I could do with another drink.
I'd say you'd had enough, honey.
This place could do with being livened up.
And this lady behind the bar here is, I believe, is named Sylvia, and the guy working the piano is named Jerry.
Respectable bar.
Why don't you get lost, sweetheart?
And a nice... I mean, this is not really properly age-appropriate for kids, but they've made the Mac puppet look drunk. Obviously, he is drunk, but they've made him look drunk by just moving his eyes closer together.
Thinking of pulling out.
He's gone cross-eyed a bit,
It's getting sweet.
and it just looks perfect.
Oh, Chief, but then
It's also great, actually, as well,
let's
that
talk about out.
out of the three of them in this dream, Mac is the one who comes out the worst. Sam and Shane more or less resemble their regular selves, but Joe dreams of his father particularly in a bad light.
Biggest consignment of gold ever shipped by rail.
Again, it's very revealing about the whole setup of the show, and we've had plenty of scenes in earlier episodes where the adults are sort of
Will be wheeled out.
discussing their feelings about Joe and how he is used. We never really get the flip side of that from Joe's point of view. And as he comes into the saloon, the piano stops. The puppets just look at each other. It is very nice and atmospheric. These nice long point-of-view tracking shots as Joe walks over to the bar. What's he going to order?
While it be, Sheriff. Whiskey, Sheriff?
Sliding it down the bar.
Milk. On the rocks.
Yeah.
Sure, Sheriff.
I get the feeling as well this must have been fun for the voice actors too. And all three of the adult regular characters, they look really quite good as sleazy outlaws. Just waiting on Joe. He's had the milk delivered. Again, they're following every Western movie and film trope in the book here. Letting Joe reach out towards his glass. Slowly. Silently. And then... Oh! Again, live action hand insert shots there.
Jerry, keep it going.
And so much glass flying about the place. I know it's not real glass, but it does all look very convincing. Not so much these shots of Joe and Sam kind of leaning around the edge of the bar firing at each other.
Hold it right there.
And the deputies appeared from nowhere. Deputy Doc smashed a chair over Shane.
Don't.
Sylvia is going to shove some kind of blancmange in Mac's face.
Lesson to you. Don't never be rude to a lady.
Great work, Sil, Doc. Okay, you guys, get your hands up.
We'll get even with you, Sheriff.
Yeah, Joe doesn't need no magic guns, talking horses, or talking dogs.
Yeah.
He has 2 guns, but he also has friends armed with chairs and blancmanges. That's a nice poster of the wing gang there. I suspect that is Keith Wilson artwork.
Cool your heads off in there for a spell.
Sheriff here.
Trouble down the Cripple Creek Rodeo, Sheriff. Can you come?
There's been a crippling. I've never noticed that before. As Doc is locking the wing gang in the cell, you see him from behind. He's got a patch on his bottom. Just, again, attention to detail, implying that at some point he ripped his pants and had to patch them over with different colour material.
Okay, Sheriff. Don't worry about a thing. Not a dang thing.
Not a doggone ding-dong diddly-dang thing. As the camera closes in on, holds on the keys, which of course, being a Western, the keys are within feasible reach of those locked in the cells. And Doc has gone to sleep. I'm trying to work out where the map on the wall behind him is of. Oh, there's even stains all down the front of Doc's top. Something else I like in this episode as well is they've made really good selections with the guest puppets in terms of who's playing these roles. Because this is the Dr. Magnus puppet from Captain Scarlet playing Doc, appropriately enough here. Also, the bank guy who got held up earlier was Jason Smith. But they're also using, later on in this episode, we'll meet the train driver, Hank. And the guy in the saloon playing the piano was Miguel Lamberto dos Passos Francesca. But they've really made good selections here of either ugly puppets, Hank in particular is quite ugly, or just, they look era specific. Again, that's just something I think is such a nice idea and so fun, picking out puppets. Who's going to play the guest character in this particular episode? All I've waffled over here is Sam has managed to retrieve the keys. They're on the desk. He set up some sort of fishing line type thing. Doc has slept through them. He's scratching himself while he sleeps. Again, that's being worked from below.
You and Mac take care of the deputy. I'll get the guns.
Right, Chief.
And as much fun as this must have been to film, and I was actually speaking about it with Mike Trim when I interviewed him for the Joe 90 Blu-rays. He did a lot of the design work on this one and remembers it quite fondly. I think also you've got to look at this and think, were there people working on the Anderson shows at this time who, A, sort of saw the writing on the wall in terms of the future of this kind of filmmaking, but also B, were like,
Let's get out of
we
here.
can do other things than the the sci-fi bordering on fantasy kind of worlds that we've become known for and perhaps sort of stuck in for a while. We could do a Western that is technically superior to Four Feather Falls. We could do any number of things.
Oh, partner.
Because we've got so many talented and creative people on staff. Just, I don't know. It would have been great if maybe they'd done like a sort of showcase series, say 12 or 13 episodes, just each one with a different format and a different scenario, a different set of characters, like a Western, like, I don't know, a historical maybe. Just unexpected, unusual Super Mario Nation-y scenarios. Anywho.
What's the trouble? Hold on.
Again, I have to imagine that's fun in the studio. Gary Files just recording the sound of Doc tied up, calling for Joe on the phone as the office is burning.
Idea, why have we stopped?
Look, we made the plan. I figure we stick to it.
And this is also a good episode for examples of why I think
Won't make this mountain
this is such a great series. In particular, the voice acting here in this scene
What risk?
with Rupert Davies, David Healy, and Keith Alexander. They are so good at
Look, I'm just...
arguing and sniping and making this dialogue seem very realistic.
I said Altoona.
Look, chum, I'm driving.
Three people with different ideas, different ways that they want to take their car. They're heading for the train with the gold consignment. Joe's office is a blazing inferno, but they still put this poor Doc puppet on the set.
Okay.
You have to remember as well, there are puppeteers standing not that far over those flames.
Stubborn
That's
old...
enough.
If, God forbid, anything went wrong on the bridge and they fell in, they'd be in serious trouble.
Stop it, I tell you.
To say nothing of the puppet.
Be on its way any time now. We can still make it.
I won't do it. I've told you this car.
And again, just that the car is stopped. This is a completely static image, and yet it's beautiful to look at. The cactuses, there's the skeleton of some large animal there. This dry, cracked, arid, western desert environment.
Varmint.
Now look, you two.
This bickering continues. Oh, I love it. But that's the sheriff's office gone up in flames.
Was a near thing, Sheriff.
If I'd been any more incompetent, I'd have been dead.
Did you get to hear where they were heading?
Like I was about to tell you, Sheriff. I think I heard him saying they could make it to the border.
But I was asleep and scratching myself at the time.
Their hearts set on that gold in Altoona. And they could make it there before the Mail Express. Unless...
What's that, Sheriff?
Doc, they're desperate men and greedy. I'll stake my reputation on them making a play for that gold. I'm going to be on that train, and I'll stop them if I bust.
You be careful, Sheriff. They're real mean. With the sort of pride...
Oh, this is a nice relationship, actually, between these two. And I also think I should really credit Len Jones for coming across as quite a good leading man in this episode, because aside from Doc, he doesn't really have anyone to sort of support him or fall back on in the way that he normally would with Sam and Mac and Shane.
Who's waiting?
Who are still arguing. No, they've decided they're going after the train. Thank goodness. And yet again, showing the improvements since the Four Feather Falls days. The setup of Joesville is quite similar to how Four Feather Falls looked and was played.
We can get, Hank.
Don't you worry now, Sheriff. We'll make it. Come on, old girl. You just show the sheriff here what you can do.
Yeah, Gary Files is doing so many Old West accents in this episode. And the Hank puppet does still exist. I think I've seen him at a couple of conventions over the years.
Come on, old girl. You can make it.
What's wrong with this thing?
You sure the brake's off?
I love as well Mac's faith in this old car, considering it's not even his, he just stole it. And there's a real... Not only is this this stuff with the train and the car racing alongside lovely to look at, but there's a real sense of of building energy throughout this, what is about to become a chase sequence as the train emerges from the tunnel. Just seconds too early. The wing gang are heading to the crossing. Oh, see, again, they're sliding the car on the puppet stage. It's terrific. Yeah, just too late there.
What in blue blazes? Are you trying to kill us or something?
You see what's happened with all your talk? They've got in front of us, and I can swear it was the sheriff in the cab of that train.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
You sure? You're sure? You're sure?
After him.
Oh, this looks so lovely. I mean, I have a feeling this is a bit of a fan favourite episode of Joe 90. It's certainly one of mine. But it's always just been lovely to look at, even pre-HD. There's just so much inventiveness and creativity in this whole story.
Well, looks like we licked him, Sheriff.
I'm not so sure about that.
And this, again, the train cab set it's so simple and yet so beautiful once it's integrated with the model shots.
Thing going any faster?
I've got my foot right down now.
What's this thing here?
We have a supercharger. Pull on that. And suddenly the thing is hurtling along like a bomb. Quite similar, in fact, to Jeremiah Tuttle's old car in The Imposters. That had a similar thing.
Keep her going! Keep her going! We're gaining on them!
The car is easily going to gain on the train at this point now. This is what I mean by the sense of increasing energy and so many, as well, just interesting camera angles they get on the car racing alongside the train here.
I'm ready for you.
Oh, and of course I should probably mention, actually, considering that I suspect none of this music was ever reused again. This is a beautiful score from Barry Gray for this episode. You can forgive him, in fact, for lifting that Thunderbirds music earlier instead of specially composing something new, because he really had his work cut out for him here with this. Yeah, we're getting Joe's point of view from the train and the baddie's point of view from the car. Oh!
Don't stop! Don't stop!
Shane's been knocked out of the car. I've never been quite sure about that shot of him writhing around on the floor. But, yes. The Wing Gang are now minus Shane. Just Mac and Sam. They have managed to overtake the train, which has now entered a tunnel. Oh, and this shot. Oh, this gives me chills. Where the car just gets over the track in front before the train comes out and heads over the crossing. Beautiful stuff. But now, oh, it looks like the train is starting to overheat. Yeah, the boiler's into the danger zone. We're into the red. Even Hank can't do anything to
They're losing steam.
to stop him from losing steam.
You just look where you're going.
Look out!
Oh! Hit a cactus.
Ooh.
Sam knocked out of the car, so now it's just Mac in this car, which is also starting to, well, fall apart. Off comes the steering wheel. Yes. It's rare as well that Rupert Davies is given any comedy material in this series, but as the car lumbers to a stop on the track directly in front of the train, oh no, we get this scream. I just love it, the image of this distinguished actor in Rupert Davies standing in the studio going, "Mah!" As the, yes, I think he managed to escape, but sadly, Sheriff Joe, Hank, and the train destroyed. That's it. Sheriff Joe is dead.
You all right, Sam? Come on.
Or is he? He was never really here, was he?
Keep her going. We must stop the Wind Gang.
And there's a lovely tone to this final scene as well, as Joe has woken up.
Come on. You've been dreaming, old...
A nice, gentle, reassuring tone from particularly Rupert Davies, but the way they are all quite apologetic to how they treated him earlier.
Sorry we were a bit short with you, Joe, but we've all been head up about the breakdown on the Big Rat.
But we think we've got a solution now. So it looks as if you'll be making that trip to Arizona after all.
Yay!
Yeah, but it won't be anything like the Arizona in that cowboy picture you've just been watching, Joe.
We're sending you to a lab where a scientist is breeding mutant piranhas at the bottom of a volcano.
It was like this. I was the sheriff of this town, and you, Uncle Sam, and Mr. Weston were all outlaws. And you see, you...
And we just pan away from Joe to the TV. Oh, well, that was Lone-Handed 90, and even though we haven't had the randomizer turn up at an episode of Joe 90 for quite a while, I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope you did too, because this has long been one of my favourite episodes. Yeah, teleplay by Desmond Saunders and Keith Wilson. It is very rare to see two names credited for one script, certainly in this era of the Anderson shows. Yeah, just all-round superb stuff. A lovely setup for a dream episode. And you know, all these shows, they have to have their dream episode. By and large, they're not very good. This one is got to be up at the top of the pile. All the way along the line, creativity abounds. So much fun. Everyone seems to have really brought their A game for such a unique and special story. Obviously, at this time, westerns on television were were in vogue and probably just about coming to their end, essentially. But it's lovely to see the series looking at how a real boy of the 1960s might imagine himself as a sheriff of a western town, and how he incorporates all his friends and family into that world. So yeah, all the way along the line, a rather spectacular episode of Joe 90. Creative, imaginative, and just a whole heap of fun. Good stuff.